So this is a race that we've been looking forward to. It's the final of the Thames Challenge Cup between Thames Rowing Club and the crew from N.S.R. Oslo, and they have been waiting for it for a whole year. Because this crew from Oslo raced here last year in the semi-final. They were beaten out by a Thames crew in the semi-final. They've spent a year getting ready, and now they find themselves up against another crew from Thames.
Interesting, Greg. It must be getting hard down the start line. Some of the boys have got T-shirts wrapped around the shoulders. I'd imagine they've been dipped in the river, keeping cool. Certainly heating up today.
Well, these crews will have made sure they got themselves warmed up properly. And it's the sort of day where physically you don't need a lot of warming up, because it's about 30 degrees out there now. Beautiful day at Henley Royal Regatta. Calm, quiet conditions. A gentle breeze around the course, but really nothing to disturb the rowers.
Okay, keep tapping.
So this morning, since getting up, they'd like to have made an early start, come down, had a paddle on the water, try to get the nerves out, maybe run through a few drills, maybe practice the start, and a few other things I think they need to work on. And what else do you think they'd have been up to, Jess?
They'd have made sure they'd have known what they were going to eat for breakfast and made sure they've had the right things. They've had some sort of porridge, some sort of slow-releasing carbohydrate. I think the biggest thing today is probably managing those nerves. These guys are super nervous. Don't get anyone wrong. You might see us out on the Olympic start line, but you are nervous sitting on the start line.
And I always think you sit there on the start line and you're thinking, where's the umpire? Is the umpire actually going to show up? And then this umpire's launch looms around the corner. In this case with Matthew Pinson sat in it. He's four-time Olympic champion. He's going to take to his feet fairly shortly and your race is going to start. But these guys aren't going to be bothered about Matt Pinson's gold medals. They're interested in that little red box that you've mentioned, which has their own gold medal sitting waiting for them at the prize giving at 5 o'clock this afternoon. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of racing to be viewed, and we're delighted you've joined us to enjoy it.
So Thames Rowing Club, winners of this event last year. And Ben Lewis do it again this time round. Their coach is doing great things at Thames. I'm sure you're waxing lyrical about him all week, but they've got a very strong men's programme at the moment, Thames.
Yeah, Thames last year in the Thames Challenge Cup, it was a final of Thames A versus Thames B. A quite phenomenal achievement. And as you say, testament to Ben Lewis and his coaching programme there. I've asked him what he does. I've asked him some of the secrets. And he basically said it's all about hands, body, slide.
That's what you tell beginners, so he's doing the right thing.
The most simple basics. But I often think this sport is about the simple basics. Doing the basics well. A lot of these things are common sense. They're just not necessarily common practice.
It's a very simple sport, and I think most of the time we just complicate it.
Absolutely. And Matt Pinson is now laying it out in pretty simple terms to the crews that he's taken to his feet. He's described how he's going to start the race, and the cox's hands have gone up, and they'll wait till they're completely ready and happy. The hands are down. And Matt was straight on with the start, sending the way, dropping the flag, and it's all going on. Suddenly from the silence, it's the noise and it's the power, and we see the Thames crew getting away nicely.
Nice clean start from both boats there. Tension will dissipate the minute the flags drop down and off they go.
Yeah, and a little correction on the steering there from the crew on the right from Oslo. We've got Cara Wirt in the coxing seat. She lists her biggest achievement of winning Henley Women's Regatta as a sculler in a quad. Now she wants to do it in the coxing seat. But if she does, she needs to get those guys in front of her working, keeping the rhythm going, because Thames have stolen half a length already.
They have. They've just slipped them. They've got about half a length, and that's pretty significant towards the end of the island. The first couple of 100 metres, you've got to feel confident if you're up there in that Thames crew, sitting, looking back on that Oslo boat. And
now they want to capitalise, don't they? They want to just feel themselves just pushing that foot plate a little bit harder, a little bit further away, and just taking another few centimetres each and every stroke to try and open that gap, because now's a key moment for them.
Interestingly, both of these crews at exactly the same time to the 40. That's about halfway yesterday. But maybe we've not seen everything that Thames have got to give, because they're now sitting at about 3 seconds up, I'd say, on this other crew lengths, but about 3 seconds, 2-3 seconds.
Yeah, well, it's a massive moment in the race, and I think the Oslo crew really need to respond now, because I think Thames have sort of sniffed the opportunity, and I think they've kept the hammer down, if you like. They've kept working at it, possibly overworking. And if Oslo can hang in there now and not let them slip away, then maybe they can make them pay for this early burst later in the race. But Thames, I think, are grasping the moment. They're seizing the day. This wants to be their moment right now.
What are they saying, Greg? Are they talking to each other in that boat? Will you be talking to, if you're the Thames boat at the top of your picture, will they be telling each other, yep, we're up, we're doing this?
Well, these guys have got a good training culture. They've got a good environment. If I was guessing, I reckon there'd be someone up there in the 2 seat or the 3 seat, and they'll be shouting, "Yeah, boys, yeah, let's move, let's make it work now," or "Come on, this is our moment, let's take it." Think about the training they've done all winter, and there'll be some key words. They won't have great long sentences. It'll be the key words to remind them: feet, shoulders, foot plate, legs, bend the blade, do it now. And that's what they're doing, to just move this boat away and try and open this gap.
And they've created a gap here. I'd say they've broken this Oslo coup. Bit of clear water, that's got to feel quite comfortable, but still a lot of course to go down here at Henley.
Well, you've got to wonder about how much energy they're expended to do it, and will they have the efficiency now, or will this Oslo crew have, as we noticed, they came down to their pace a little bit earlier, they settled into their rhythm a little bit earlier. Will that longer, stronger rhythm carry them through the middle, or will the Thames crew be able to hold this gap?
So a lot of the times in rowing, it's not about who's going to have a huge change of pace, it's about who drops the least amount of speed. If that Oslo crew can keep in touch and drop the least amount of speed, they could still be in this race. But Thames look pretty classy over there.
Well, they are, aren't they? Thames coming down there, just passing Forley, that halfway mark, and there's really not much let up in it. It looks just as dynamic as it did when they were in that early stage, and now they're coming through the second quarter, and they just want to keep delivering, keep doing it. Kind of don't make any mistakes, just keep it going.
Great shot of them coming down now. This crew based at Putney, they've been doing a lot of training with St Paul's, who you're going to see later on this afternoon, big favourites to win the PE.
Yeah, absolutely. They train on the Tideway, where the boat race course happens. A great big wide bit of the River Thames, tidal. Lots of conditions get thrown at you there. There's not too much getting thrown at them here on the water, and at the moment the crew from Oslo aren't throwing enough at them to really put them under pressure as we're coming down towards Upper Thames and then the Remnant Club, where they're likely to get a pretty good cheer from all that support that comes behind Thames and the other crews that row on the upper stretches of the river.
What a row this is. They're sitting a couple of lengths up. That's a long way in N.S.R. This is going to feel like a long way for them. They're going to look back, throwing down some dirty water to this Oslo crew.
And we talked about how good they are. They came through halfway in 3 minutes flat. The record for this event is 2:58, so they're 2 seconds outside of the record. They've trained, as you said, with that crew from St Paul's, who train on the same stretch, and that crew we're looking forward to see later. That's a crew that's already set a record time to Forley, a crew that's going to look to go out and say they're the best we've ever seen as a schoolboy 8. But I know there's plenty of rowing yet to be done in that race, and this one, not so much rowing yet left to be done. 2 minutes of keeping it solid, keeping it straight for the Thames crew, and those medals could be theirs.
This is a real masterclass in this 8 boat rowing, because they look so synchronised, so convincing. Great shot from above. You can just see that synchronisation. They're trying to keep loose on the recovery, but you want to be aggressive during the stroke, and these guys are doing a very good job of that.
They are doing a good job of it, moving really nicely. As we see that beautiful shot of the blade work, Ben Lewis will be pleased to see how well he's got them moving together, and there's absolutely no let up, no time for any sort of complacency as they're coming down towards those enclosures. And the crew from Oslo doing everything they can. They're looking to respond, but as they look, and as Ian Hurley there, he was the remaining winner from the Thames Cup crew last year, sits in the stroke seat. He's led this crew straight out at the start, and now they just keep pounding along in front of the enclosures.
A little look back from Connie Perdue there, their cocks, just making sure that Oslo crew kept a few lengths behind, and she can just enjoy this now. They've got to soak this up, Greg. They're about to win Henley Royal, about to get their names on their board back up in Putney.
Well, it doesn't get much better, does it? It's a sunny day, there's a gentle tail breeze lifting them towards the finish line, and there the enclosure's absolutely packed. What a moment for them.
Great stuff from this Thames crew. Another strong win for Ben Lewis and his incredible club. They're doing great things. They've got to be loving this right now.
Well, what a moment in the Thames Challenge Cup that it is Thames Rowing Club A who take the win, cross the line in front, punch the air with delight. The oars go cartwheeling around. The boatman won't be happy about that. But at the moment, no one's going to care. It's a fantastic win as we see the crew from Oslo come across the line. The heads go down, but the cheers go out, the arms go up in that win in the Thames Challenge Cup, the Thames Rowing Club over N.S.R Oslo in Norway. So just seeing those final moments of celebration from the crew from Thames as they cross the line, and you could see it on the face of the Cox there. Just she knew it was going to happen. Connie Perdue coming up towards the line. She was beating the sides of the boat and saying, this is our moment. And then they crossed the line. The crew could stop and the crew could celebrate. So this is what we saw back up on the start line. Crew from Oslo got away nicely in the first 10 or so strokes, but then after that there was just so much strength and power that came through from the Thames crew. There was nothing they could do about it. They came up across against a really strong Thames boat, who then took control and led it all the way down to the line. And now their celebrations can begin.